G'day and welcome to this tutorial where we're going to take a look at weight and balance inside OzRunways. Now I'm going to caveat from the start, we're not going to teach you how to do weight and balance in this tutorial if you don't already know how to do it. What we're going to do here is apply the skills for people who already know how to do weight and balance, and we're going to be using the Charlie plot, which is how OzRunways does its weight and balance. We're also not going to cover in this tutorial how to convert between a Bravo and an Alpha plot through to the Charlie, but it is possible to do that. For example, if you're flying a Beechcraft aircraft, you're going to need to do that because a lot of their POHs only give you the Bravo plot. First thing you need to do is make sure that the units that you've got selected are as you require for your aircraft type. Now in this case I'm going to be setting up a Cessna 172 Sierra model. I've got the POH here which you can see, and I've started off in section 6 just on the sample aeroplane section here, so you can see what the details are roughly there in terms of weight. So it's asking us for our weight in pounds. If I scroll down to the bottom, you can see that we've got weight units in pounds and we've got the moment arm units in inches, which is also fine for this aircraft. So let's jump into the weight and balance config. So we enter into the config, press the I button. This one doesn't have a name, so you would have seen that it was blank there. So let's start off with entering that as the first thing we do. So tap on the name field, and now you can enter in your name. We'll just call this Profile 1. You can call this whatever you like. It's just a label that you're giving it so you can make sense of it. For example, sometimes if I'm doing a profile for an aircraft, I might do a configuration which is called a solo configuration, and then I might do one which is solo with bags, and then I might do 2 passengers, pilot and bags, and I'll name the profile that so it's very obvious to me that's what I'm using. But you might also want to do, for example, doors on, doors off if that's the type of aircraft you fly. Next thing we're going to look at is the basic empty weight. So you can see here a basic empty weight of 740.5 is already in there, and that's completely inaccurate compared to the sample airplane that we're going to be using, which is presenting a basic empty weight of 1642. So we tap on that field and we type that number into the basic empty weight. The next thing we are going to need is either the arm or the moment. Now OzRunways weight and balance needs either the basic empty weight and the arm from which it derives the moment, or, as is required in this case of this aeroplane, you can enter the basic empty weight and the moment, and OzRunways will calculate the arm for you. Now the data we have here shows us the basic empty weight and the moment, so we're going to use that. You'll see in this column, however, that the moment is expressed in pounds inches divided by 1,000. To get this number, which is 62.6, into pounds inches, we then need to multiply it by 1,000. So the maths is pretty simple. We just take 62.6 and we times it by 1,000 to give us the moment of 62,600 pound inches. Now we tap on the moment and we enter 62,600 pound inches. What OzRunways has done is has taken the basic empty weight and the moment, applied those together and produced the arm of 38.1 inches, which is effectively where the centre of gravity is for the empty aircraft. As we said before though, if your POH is giving you the basic empty weight and the arm, you can enter those 2 values and OzRunways will calculate the moment for you. The next step we're going to have to do is set up the stations that we've got. So in our POH, we're going to need to find the page in the weight and balance section which gives you the C of G arms. So first off, we've got the pilot and then we've got the co-pilot. Now the weight section doesn't really matter. You can put whatever you want in there. That you're going to be able to override that when you're in a plan anyway. That's just the default weight that it starts off at. Given that these weights are meant to be in pounds, we'll change the pilot weight now to 170 pounds, which is what I weigh, and then we'll make the co-pilot 0 as if I was solo, showing a Cessna 172's capability in that configuration. Longitudinally, you'll see that it has 37 inches listed in there. Now that's already set up in this envelope because it was already designed for that. But to change it, you would type on each station and add what those parameters are going to be. Now we go to the left rear and left right. Again, 73, they're already set. The luggage, which is at 95, that's already set. And the last one that we need is fuel, which are located at 48 inches. And again, they're already set. Now the weight in here, you don't need to touch that. The OzRunways is already going to work it out. So you can put whatever you want in there. It doesn't really matter. OzRunways will take it into account when it does the fuel calculations based on the fuel amount that you enter in to the aircraft profile. So again, you can have anything you want in there. Let's have a look now at the longitudinal envelope. This sometimes stumps people. The longitudinal envelope is actually relatively straightforward. All you need to do is find the Charlie plot in your aircraft. Again, if you've got a Bravo or an Alpha, you're going to have to convert it yourself. But find yourself the Charlie plot. In this case, it's page 616. What we're going to do here is go around and we're going to enter the stations. Now, what confuses people is often the name of the station. People ask me, what do I need to put in the name? You can put anything you want in there. It just needs to be 2 digits. It can be the same name for every station. All that is a label that gives the app a way of knowing that it's a different station effectively. So you can put whatever you like in there. In this case, we're going to start at the bottom left station and we're going to work clockwise around the center of gravity limits to plot them out. So let's get started. The first section, we're going to hit edit, and the first section we're going to tap on the name, and to prove my point, we're going to call it AA. Alright, once we've done that, we're going to tap on the weight. So the weight at that point, the minimum weight that we can have, obviously you can use anything you want, but we're going to use 1,500 pounds because that's the bottom of the Charlie plot diagram. And the longitudinal position of that one is 35 inches. We're now going to move along the bottom to the next one, and this is going to be right at the back of the normal category. Now for this point here, we're going to call it Alpha again to prove my point that it doesn't affect the diagram at all, whatever you name it. And this is a really important thing to get across. As I said, it's the thing that seems to cause the most confusion. Now the longitudinal position here is actually 47.3. So we'll add that in. Going clockwise around, I'll just leave the stations named as they are. Going anti-clockwise around. The next station up is still at 47.3, but this time the weight is different. So the weight here is 2,550 pounds. And as we said, 47.3. The next one along, 41 inches and 2550. All this is taken from that Charlie plot. And the last one, we draw that line all the way down diagonally, is 1,950 pounds and 35. Now, you'll notice that we don't have the first point again. You don't need to. The app's going to automatically draw a line from the first point to the last point. When you're all finished, hit the done key, slide back up to the top, and you'll see that we've got a Charlie plot which is the same as what we would get out of the POH. Now it looks different, it's squished, because of course it's fitting into a different size than what the diagram is on the PDF. But if we compress the PDF diagram, you would see that it would look exactly the same if you overlaid it on top with the same scale. You can now also see that with full fuel, noting again that it's ignored the weight I put into the fuel section here. With full fuel of 160 litres, with one person on board, we're well within the C of G envelope. To demonstrate the effect of adding numbers to this section, if we add a second occupant, you can see the weight is getting quite heavy there. Add a third occupant, very close to the top, but that C of G is moving back a little further. And then a fourth occupant, and what you're running into here is really that problem that often gets described about the Cessna 172 and the PA-28. Although they've got 4 seats, they're really not for 4 adults at the same time because you'll exceed the max takeoff weight. And even here, these are quite conservative numbers for adult weights being 170 pounds. So that's a quick run through how to do weight and balance for a Charlie plot aircraft. I hope you found that informative. Again, the key points out of this is you have to know how to do C of G first. You need it in a Charlie plot format. Go ahead and grab your POH, enter in the details applicable to your airplane, step through and add the stations, adapt the envelope when you're finished, and then you'll be presented with a C of G envelope that works for your airplane.